The city of Ostashkov, where our team is heading today, has been attracting tourists for a long time. It was deemed the Pearl of Russia back in the turbulent post-Soviet era. Besides, often being styled as the Venice of the North, after St. Petersburg or Vyshny Volochyok. These nicknames stuck to the city because it is surrounded by the numerous bodies of water. It sits on the major watershed, which gives rise to three large rivers of Europe: the Volga, the West Dwina and the Dnieper. No wonder that the countryside here is well known for its tranquil lakes and pastoral grass valleys. The Siliga lake system is, beyond doubt, the true gem of Ostashkov. Unfortunately, this is where the rhapsodizing comes to an end. Ostashkov is dirty and stinky, as some unknown but outspoken resident of the city wrote in large letters on the embankment front. The end of winter is not the best time for any provincial Russian town. The melting snow unveils all kinds of municipal maintenance good-offs. As for the second epithet, it was probably inspired by the inadequate local sewage and water treatment system. As we leave the city heading towards the source of the Volga River, it is hard not to notice a certain smell in the air. It brings to mind a certain anecdote involving a summer gathering of a pro-government public organization Nashi, translated like ours, endorsed by the Kremlin ideologue Vladislav Surkov. Apparently, in order not to foul the Seliger Lake with the fecal masses of 5,000 participants, the byproducts of ours were trucked to Ostashkov and dumped into the city sewage. The locals still remember the awful stench which didn't leave the city until ours did. This may be the reason that their next rally was held in a different location. Sure, they could have evoked a well-known adage and claimed that ours stink has no smell. According to the city statistics, every year Ostashkov receives about 1 million tourists. The historical center is the natural magnet for travelers, and our team started the tour of the city with Yevstafiev Street, former Millionaire Street. Before the 1917 revolution, it was a popular neighborhood among the affluent citizens of Ostashkov. This monument to the Second World War partisans in the middle of Yevstafiev Street serves as the modern nucleus of the city. As a result of the recent restoration of the monument, the granite slabs which used to face the pediment have mysteriously disappeared without a trace. To cover the losses, the pediment is whitewashed in time for Victory Day. Besides, the partisan figure, which used to hold a copper grenade, was ruthlessly robbed of it one night. Apparently, the impudent dissidents of the war heroes prefer to keep them unarmed, just in case. Ostashkov is located on a peninsula, and any street leading north, east or west ends at the lake. Let's go to the waterfront along Yevstafiev Street, the most beautiful one in the city. But enough about water. According to both Heraclitus and Herodotus, another element, fire, is the foundation of all that is. It appears that the municipal administration follows the same school of thought. These charred remains of ruined and semi-ruined buildings have been sitting here for at least 3 years. The ghostly city center makes an eerie setting for the nightly human comedy, where main actors are the homeless, seeking shelter among the wrecks. It feels as if the city is falling apart in front of our eyes. This beautiful two-story building used to house the financial college, now defunct. The concert hall, located in the Church of Resurrection, has been closed, while the building went back to the Russian Orthodox Church. The residents are sure that soon the same fate will befall the local history museum. Is the life getting better here? No, not better. No, of course worse. Since I came here, it got much worse. How can you see it? It's everywhere. No roads. The running water is dirty. The electricity is often switched off. It was the pearl of Russia when we were small. When the town was all green, all the pavements were accurate and clean. The center was in flowers. Do you believe in better changes? No, because our local government has bottomless pockets for money. Taking all this in, it is hard not to draw certain parallels. While only the few have control over the money, many strive for it. A city stripped of power over the finances which belong to it by right is doomed to become economically impotent. One wouldn't expect a child to develop financial perspicacity if all he controls is the lunch money meted out by his parents. But this absurdity is exactly what unfolds currently in Ostashkov and other regional towns of Tver Oblast. The city has neither the government nor the public-minded citizens, only populace. This piece of the 21st century Russia is rapidly reverting to the distant past, while the nauseating familiar TV personnel keep hawking the charms of serfdom and orthodoxy as the only guarantees of the true Russian way of life. Why don't we look even further into the past and consider Magdeburg Law, which had governed towns and villages of medieval Europe way before the serfdom was established in Russia? Over 100 towns used to function according to Magdeburg Law on the territory which now belongs to Ukraine and Belarus. In 1611, Smolensk was the only town in Russia to develop a charter of rights. In addition, Novgorod and Pskov had similar codes. Well, if the country is so set on going back to the old ways, let's at least establish the worthy reset point. The situation in Ostashkov, like in any other provincial Russian town, shows the lowest level of civic conscience of the residents. At the same time, the local powers are quite happy with this status quo and endeavor to keep it ad infinitum. Under the current conditions, the local government could not and should not be elected, only appointed. Better quality of life invariably brings along the increase of consumer demand, whereas those forced to live in the controlled poverty would perceive any increased need as hardship. Today, only 11 cities of the Russian Federation still directly elect their mayors. Back in the 90s, no matter how painful they were for the country, oil went for 13 per barrel. Yet, the major part of locally collected taxes remained in the cities and towns. Boris Nemtsov brought this matter up in one of his last public addresses. Of old, there existed and still do some simple rules governing the cities and towns which help them to survive and even prosper. First, the majority of the taxes levied by the city must stay there. Also, the local government, which has the control of the finance, should be elected by the residents and answer to them. The citizens should be kept informed as to where their tax monies go and how they improve the life of the city. Are those ancient rules still applicable today? Sadly, this is a rhetorical question. The modern version of Russian Tsar is desperate to keep the local government staffed not by their elected and political savvy officials, but by his sycophantic henchmen, who live in a bubble and thus are cut off from the brutal reality. Those, in their turn, are eager to keep the residents in isolation from the internet, for example, and lord over the deaf-mute populace as they see fit. Unfortunately, it is what it is, ladies and gentlemen.
Мы по понятиям давно живем как курки, а вот хотелось бы нам, блядь, как в Магдебурге.